بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الهزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجه الكريم. Inshallah, we're going to continue in our reading of the book, A Critique of the Palmyran Creed, deconstructing Ibn Taymiyyah's theology of resemblance. We are on page 157. We have around 30 pages left of the book, and we will be moving to another book, which is this book. So this is the next book that we're moving to. There is the link for it. It is the Mukhtasar, a summary of Ihya Ulumuddin of Imam al-Ghazali. From reading the various translations of the Ihya and the summaries of it, this one is the best one that we have seen so far. It's pricey, and that I can't do anything about. But the translation is very good, and we need a good translation for this text. So we chose this one, and this is the book we'll be working in for a long time to come in the Post-Fajr Reflections. It will also be a form of a reading circle that we will be doing, because we'll be reading it both in Arabic and English. And then we'll be reading just the English with commentary. So there's going to be like simultaneous sessions going on with this book. One as a review session in Arabic and English, just covering the text. And then the Post-Fajr Reflection, which is a detailed explanation of the text. So that's where we're going to be in the next coming weeks. I think we will be finished this book within the next few days. I don't think it will take us more than a week, or at most a week and a half, best, maybe 2 weeks, to finish this book completely. This text, the Palmyran Creed. So that gives you time to save. The book is expensive. We only have a limited amount of copies, so I suggest that you make the effort to get the book, because if you don't get it from here, it's going to be much more expensive somewhere else, or you may not be able to get it at all. So please make your purchase, inshallah ta'ala, and we will be starting as soon as we finish this book. Also, let me put this up. There is the option for those who want to get some rewards, is if you can afford to donate the price of the book for someone who doesn't have the money or doesn't have all the money. That way we can still facilitate for everyone who wants the book to get it, because sometimes we would have people who request, I can't afford it, and we can facilitate for them because of people who donated books. We did this before, and this was a way to made sure mostly everyone had a text. So that option is open to donate a book for those who wish to do it. inshallah. So let us go to our text, and we're on page 157, the second paragraph from the bottom. Bismillah, let us begin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy upon him, said, there are many ignorant anthropomorphists who affirm a direction for Allah Ta'ala. When the people of truth and divine transcendence say to them, your belief in direction forces you to also believe in a limit, had they respond, no, we are not forced to admit belief in a limit. A simple denial is not enough to negate the inherent link between direction and limit. All the anthropomorphists all the anthropomorphists have to stand on is the denial of this inherent link. But lo, when these same ignorant anthropomorphists learned that their greatest sheikh, Ibn Taymiyyah, affirmed a limit for Allah Ta'ala, they were first taken aback, and then they affirmed it as well. Some years
But
ago,
here, there is something that you should be aware of. Oftentimes, many people are following these ideas without realizing it, right? And for us, we need to be careful. As we mentioned yesterday, let our issue be about the truth, not about individuals necessarily, right? So we're mentioning these issues about Ibn Taymiyyah, and our issue is not so much Ibn Taymiyyah as an individual. It is the ideas and the beliefs that are incorrect that Ibn Taymiyyah carried. And he is the one who is well known for them and spread them. So that's why they're being identified through him, right? And what is important is that you don't fall into those bad beliefs, right? That's more important than the person of Ibn Taymiyyah, right? The person of Ibn Taymiyyah, as our Sheikh said, is matters with Allah, right? So we're not worrying about him. But what we do have to be concerned ourselves with is what he left behind in his writings that are not consistent with the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And that's what we should focus on. Hence, that's what we're reading. And many people, especially in our community, they follow those ideas by default. They don't even realize they're following those ideas. They don't even know who originated those ideas. That's what's being spread in their masjid or in their community, and that's what they believe, as they believe that that is Islam, right? So our job is to clarify issues so that people have the correct belief. That's it. And in the process, you're going to mention the one who's holding those bad beliefs because that is where it's coming from. But at the same time, you're not so caught up on the direction where it's coming from as it is the idea itself, right? So what we're avoiding is a tashbih and a tamthil and ascribing Allah with a direction or limits, right? That's what you need to worry about in correcting first and foremost. Second to that is the one who's conveying those bad ideas so he doesn't spread them. But that's really not the most important issue, right? Because if that person goes away, like Ibn Taymiyyah is passed, right? He died. But the ideas still exist. So even when Ibn Taymiyyah went away, those ideas that he spread are still spreading. So we still have to deal with the issue, right? So let us make sure we learn the issues well, not so much be concerned about the individuals who convey the issue. They're important only in terms that the issue still exists. Now, go ahead.
some years ago, I debated one of these people. I first had him admit that believing in limits for Allah Ta'ala is false and against the doctrine of Ahl Sunnah. Afterwards, I explained that Ibn Taymiyyah believed in limits, to which he was taken aback and shocked. In that sitting, he admitted that there are some problems with Ibn Taymiyyah. A few months later, I sat with this individual once again. He said to me, I used to believe that
A few
affirming a
months
limit.
later, like 2 or 3 months later, he talked to him. Now,
He said to me, I used to believe that affirming a limit was against the way of Ahl Sunnah. However, after my trip to Saudi Arabia and asking some of the sheikhs there, it became clear to me that
meaning,
affirmation of
meaning the sheikhs of Al Wahhabiyah, right? So in Saudi Arabia, that's where you find many of the Wahhabi shuyukh. So this is in Jordan. So he goes to Saudi Arabia, and that happens a lot of places. They come from a place that is Ahl Sunnah, they go to Saudi Arabia, and then they run into the sheikhs of the Wahhabiyah, and they fall into their doctrines. Now,
it became clear to me that affirmation of a limit is the belief of Ahl Sunnah, and it is obligatory to believe in it. Hence, I believe that Allah Ta'ala possesses a limit.
mm,
This ignorant innovator changed his creed in the course of a few months so he would not have to rule that Ibn Taymiyyah opposed Ahl Sunnah. There are many people who think like this person, if you can really call it thinking in the first place. Not
here, I reminded when I had this discussion the other day in the airport, and I was talking to this person, and he was so wrapped up on names. The issue that we were talking about, he agreed. But when it came to the names of the people who were on it that had those beliefs, he couldn't reconcile the two, right? Because his whole issue was so and so said it, so it must be true. But when he actually dealt with the issue outside of so and so, he would agree with the truth. But then when he learned that so and so and so and so contradicted the truth, he returned back to the saying of so and so because of his attachment to the individual. And this is what we have to avoid. The truth is the truth, no matter who says it, right? And our issue should be learning about the truth. Now,
Not long after that, I heard that this ignoramus was selected by some Saudi sheikhs to be a caller to Allah Ta'ala in Britain. This is how money plays with minds and works its wonders. Ibn Taymiyyah's words seem to imply that the differences
so one
among
of my
people.
teachers, one time he told me about this. He said, feed the stomach, the eyes will remain silent. I said, huh? He said, feed the stomach, the eyes will remain silent. In other words, when they would give money, people know what is wrong, but the money would cause them to accept or remain silent about what is wrong to receive the money. So you're supported and you're going to get everything you're going to get. And sometimes you'll just compromise even religious principles. People do that. Now,
Ibn Taymiyyah's words seem to imply that the differences among people, or say between the people of divine transcendence and the people of anthropomorphism, regarding the negation of resemblance is merely semantic. This is not the case at all. At all. Negation of resemblance appears in the Sunnah and the book in explicit text. The scholars of truth from the Salaf and those after them unanimously agreed that resemblance is negated. Only the corporealists and anthropomorphists who contain deviancy and desires in their hearts oppose that. Ibn Taymiyyah said, when these people, the opponents, apply the words resemblance and likeness to the sifatiyah, it is according to their own beliefs over which they dispute with the latter. Thereafter, they, the Sifatiyah, say to them, even if this meaning might be called resemblance according to the technical nomenclature of some people, this meaning has not been negated by either reason or revelation. The only thing that must be negated is what was negated by the legal and rational proofs. The Quran has negated likeness, mithal, equivalence, kuf, and equal, nid, and so on. They say, in the Arabic language, an attribute, sifa, is not like the one described, mausuf, nor is it an equivalent or equal. It does not enter into the text. As for the intellect, the word resemblance was not negated in the technical nomenclature of the Mu'tazila. It should be obvious to the reader that in this passage Ibn Taymiyyah was attempting to play around with the issue of resemblance and its negation. He attempted to make resemblance a matter of dispute, devoid of texts or proofs that negate it. Here he claimed that the one who negates resemblance only does so due to a particular meaning intended, and this meaning might not be negated or opposed to the text or reason. Ibn Taymiyyah affirmed
Meaning to the
resemblance.
text, meaning the sacred law. The sacred law. Mm.
Ibn Taymiyyah affirmed resemblance and claimed it does not oppose the divine text or the sacred law. Then Ibn Taymiyyah claimed that the Mu'tazila negated the attributes so they would not be forced to admit to resemblance. And since those attributes are actually affirmed, the Mu'tazila imagined resemblance where there was none. If you follow Ibn
And I
Taymiyyah's
think
train
if
of thought,
you look at Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, there is two levels. From the Mu'tazila, they went to negating, fleeing from likening Allah to the creation. The Mushabbi al-Mujassima went to resemblance and likening Allah to creation, fleeing from negation. Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah is in the middle of that, in terms of they affirm Allah's attributes while not denying them and avoiding resemblance. And that is what is at tanzih. And the way they do it is by a tafweed or a ta'wil.
if you follow Ibn Taymiyyah's train of thought and look at his words scattered about here and there, you see a man who attempted with all his might to make what is agreed upon differed over so he could justify his own dissenting view. That was his manner of handling most of the issues in which he differed with the scholars and the people of truth. This style is neither sound.
Ahl al-Haq, meaning the people of truth, meaning al-Asha'ira, particularly wal Maturidiyya.
This style is neither sound nor correct. If the mere presence of a dissenting view was enough to validate and justify certain views, then all dissenting views would be equally valid and sound without distinction. Validating views and beliefs must be based upon strong proofs, not the mere existence of differences. When the Mu'tazila negated multiple attributes externally superadded to the divine entity, they did so only because it would have implied compositeness, tarkib, according to their understanding and conception of things. The Mu'tazila were only speaking about the qualitative attributes, sifatul ma'ani, not the attributes Ibn Taymiyyah used to call concretes, the affirmation of which definitely implied compositeness. Even if people differed about the affirmation of qualitative attributes and whether they implied compositeness or not, they did not differ regarding the fact that affirmation of parts, tools, and appendages is definitely compositeness. This is why the people have agreed that everything implying compositeness is false and negated from Allah Ta'ala.
Composite of tarkib means they're made up of parts. So like a hand, a face, feet, eyes, shin, all of these. And they say, oh, this is negated about Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Now,
Afterwards, people differed about some connotations and whether or not they implied compositeness. Those who believed that such connotations were implied negated them, and those who believed that they were not implied affirmed them. Because the Mu'tazilite believed that superadded attributes implied compositeness, they negated them and stated that the attributes are the entity. As for the esteemed Ash'aris, they did not believe that there was an inherent link between compositeness and something being superadded. This is why they believed in additional attributes and negated compositeness simultaneously. None of the relied upon imams of the Muslims even said that compositeness, appendances, and parts, it should be appendages, and parts are affirmed for Allah Ta'ala and that He is described with them. Anyone making such a claim would never be considered from the scholars of the people of truth. This is why Ibn Taymiyyah did, however, he divided the attributes into qualitative attributes.
وهكذا فعل ابن تيمية. Would you say?
This is what Ibn Taymiyyah did.
Okay.
However, he divided the attributes into qualitative attributes and concrete attributes. He seemed to have forgotten that his belief in the so-called concrete attributes is nothing more than an admittance to compositeness and resemblance. He claimed that no two people differed regarding Allah Ta'ala being described with these qualities. Worse than that, he claimed that even if it was resemblance, it is not negated from Allah Ta'ala. The belief which Ibn Taymiyyah adopted is outside of the scope of agreement. It was a newly
of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Now,
It was a newly invented matter found only with the innovators. He did not suffice himself with that. Rather, he claimed that the Salaf believed in it as well and that the divine text supported. So, in addition to his innovation, he fell into clear fallacious thinking. Ibn Taymiyyah fell into much worse than that. He used the dissenting opinions of others regarding a separate issue to validate his own opinion, for they were all in agreement that resemblance is negated, but their dissenting opinions pertain to the certain connotations only. In other words, the Mu'tazila and the Sunnis differed about the qualitative attributes and whether or not they imply compositeness. Because they differed regarding the connotations, Ibn Taymiyyah used that difference of opinion to validate belief in resemblance. This method is extremely odd and is full of fallacious reasoning. When people differ about something containing resemblance or not, it is not the same as differing about whether resemblance is true or not. Our differences with Ibn Taymiyyah concern the latter. It is a fundamental difference and nothing less. Differing about certain connotations fitting with certain concepts which are agreed upon is not the same as differing about the basis of a concept and its meaning. The latter is a fundamental difference, whereas the first is not. This is a tremendous principle that clarifies a major fundamental regarding differences among the Muslims, and it is a tremendous guideline for differentiating, between fundamental and subsidiary issues.
I want to make something clear, and this is an important aspect. When we talk about learning, right, there is a level of submission that we should do, right? And what I mean is the level of submission. Every one of us should know our level and submit to that, surrender to that. Like we have a level of learning, every one of us, right? And there are some things we know and some things we don't know. Every one of us. No one is free of this. And sometimes when we don't know a thing and we don't surrender to that, we'll make errors that could be just avoided by saying, I don't know, or that's out of my scope of knowledge, right? When you start trying to claim knowledge that you don't have, it will put you in confusion and you'll mix issues up. In another way, our teachers should say, whoever speaks outside his field will come up with very strange matters. If you talk outside your field. So in Aqidah, in belief, there are essential matters and then there are detail matters. In the essential matters, there cannot be disagreement. There has to be agreement. Then you have detailed matters that relate to the creed as well, that there are differences of opinion upon them. Scholars, they differ about them, even among Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. One of the things we have to learn is what are the essentials of the creed and what are the details, or you could say the branches of the creed. They're not the same thing. So someone different in essentials is at a dangerous place where someone differing in details is accepted. Without me going into detail about branches and details. Does everyone follow that point? Just the point I'm making. Not give me all the essentials and all the details. That's Aqidah lesson in and of itself. I'm talking about the point that there are issues that are essential matters, foundational matters of the belief, and then there are other issues that are details. That's all I want you to get at this stage. So when we talked about the 20 attributes that the Asha'ira say everyone must know, or 13, however some mention, these are essential matters of the creed, not branches. That's why they say they're obligatory for every mukallaf to know, because it's essential matters. These issues of at-tashbih and at-tatsin relate to essential matters, not details. So that's why the difference between Ahl Sunnah and Ibn Taymiyyah and those who hold his belief, they are matters of the essentials of the creed. And that's why there is no reconciliation in these matters. Y'all follow? So there's no way to reconcile it because it's the essentials of the creed. Go ahead. Inshallah.
After all of this, Ibn Taymiyyah claimed that the sacred law has only condemned likeness and not resemblance. This is plainly false. The rigorously authentic hadith report concerning the occasion behind the revelation of Surah Ikhlas states that Allah Ta'ala has nothing resembling him or equal, adl, to him. That is a clear and explicit text negating resemblance and not just likeness. Allah Ta'ala's statement, and there is nothing comparable to him, Al-Ikhlas, Surah 112, Ayah 4, not only negates likeness, it is more general and it negates equivalence, resembling or otherwise. The negation in Allah Ta'ala's statement, there is nothing like unto him, Ash-Shura, Surah 42, Ayah 11, is not for likeness as Ibn Taymiyyah imagined. Nay, the negation was placed before the governing particle of kaf, laysa kamithlihi, which is primarily for resemblance and not likeness. How could Ibn Taymiyyah claim that there was no divine text condemning resemblance? Why didn't he notice all of the statements from the Salaf negating resemblance and condemning the anthropomorphists in all their various shapes and sizes? Ibn Taymiyyah said, their basic argument is that...
Let's stop there. What page are you on?
Page 161, last paragraph.
Okay, we'll stop there, inshallah. Various shapes and sizes. Tell you. So I wanted to make a few quick announcements again for those who may have missed them earlier. We are moving after this text to a different book, which the link is here. And the book is this book. We're going to be going into this book, summary of Ihya Ulumuddin, which was summarized by Sheikh Saleh Ashami. And this will be the text we'll be working on for probably the rest of this year and maybe into next year. We will be going into next year, and we will be constantly going through this text. What we may also do is we may read other texts as a part while we're still reading this text, because this is a long text. So we may be reading this book for some of the time, and then maybe a portion of another book later, right? But right now we're going to heavily concentrate on the Ihya of Imam al-Ghazali, because one of the things that, after going so far in talking about Aqidah and going through the things with Ibn Taymiyyah and Al-Wahhabiyya and Salafiyya, this stuff drains the soul after a while. So we need to get we need to clean ourselves up. It's like working in a furnace or something. You get dusty, right? So you gotta do something you have to do something to clean yourself up. And this book of Imam al-Ghazali is a good part of that, because our religion has become too much, from our side, too much controversy, unnecessarily sometimes. Like, our teachers would be like, let's finish the point and let's move on. We're not going to make our deen about individuals and groups, and that's not our religion. It is a part, but that's not our deen, right? We don't spend our whole deen talking about Wahhabis and Salafis and Ibn Taymiyyah. No. We clarify issues that are wrong, but that's not our religion, right? That's not what we spend all our time doing. We have to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to become better Muslims, right? While protecting ourselves from mistakes and errors. Yes, we do that. But that's not the focus. Let's keep it like this. Hudhayfa ibn Yaman, he said, I learned evil to guard myself from it, because the one who doesn't know evil is likely to fall into it. That's it. Right? I learned evil to protect myself from it, because the one who does not know evil is likely to fall into it. Once you learn what is wrong, protect yourself from the wrong. Now do the right things, right? Which is most of the work, right? Doing the right things. And our teachers used to say, the books of Imam al-Ghazali, they are excellent for working on the heart and allowing the heart to illuminate, to motivate the body, right? And they also said that many people, they don't like to read the books of Imam al-Ghazali, especially the Ihya, because the books of Imam al-Ghazali will let you know who you are, not who you claim to be. They said the works of Imam al-Ghazali, especially the Ihya, will let you know who you are, not who you claim to be. Because Imam al-Ghazali set the bar so high, you get to realize your false claims. And inshallah ta'ala, we want to be excellent or proficient practitioners, not claimants with no reality, right? So we have to work on ourselves. So this is going to be our journey for the next few months. And I'm going to share a lot of things with you that will benefit you. But we have to really start practicing, we really have to get our practice together, and the way we interact in this deen. So inshallah, this will be the next text. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. Also tonight, the Black Imams Roundtable at 7 o'clock. The title, Each One Teach One. Each one teach one. It should be a very beneficial session tonight. And it relates to what we intend and what we've been doing and how we're trying to get us to move to another level in our Islamic understanding and practice. So tonight at 7 o'clock, the Black Imams Roundtable, each one teach one. Tayyib, there is any questions? MashaAllah. I did also put anyone who wants to assist those who cannot afford the book and would like to donate a book for someone. Here's the link to donate a book that will be given to someone who is not able to purchase the book. That is a way of us assisting one another. It helped, and that's what we did with Reliance. We did it with other books because, you know, people are following. We have a lot of people following, but everyone is not in the same financial position. And, you know, we try to help who we can, but, you know, all of us who support make it easier for everyone, inshallah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. Inshallah, you should finish. Why not you reading, Khadijah? Read the books. That's what they're for, right? I'll tell you how you finish a book, right? Number one, don't leave the house without a book. Put the phone down sometimes. I'm talking about to us as in general, not to a specific person. Like everywhere you go, you should have a book. Whenever you get a free moment, read your book, right? So that is our habit. I don't go anywhere without a book. Whenever I have a brief moment, I read my book. If you keep doing that, you will finish books with ease, right? And all the books that, especially at Masjid Muhammad, all of the books that we sell, those books relate to what we teach, right? We don't sell books that doesn't have significance into what we're teaching, right? So when you read a book, it's going to benefit you in your classes because it's connected in some way. So, inshallah, be an avid reader. That's what I recommend. Inshallah. May Allah make it easy, right? May Allah make it easy. But will you be addressing the Wahhabiyya upcoming PDFs refuting you by name? They wasting their time refuting me. I mean, Muhammad is ignorant. I don't know why you wasting your time refuting me. It's a waste of time. Don't you notice I don't refute nobody by name among like modern day Wahhabis? Waste of time. It's not about them. They're insignificant. They didn't make it up. Muhammad didn't make. Now, if I'm making something up, at least I don't know about it, then you just need to inform me that I'm making something up and I don't know it. I'm not going to intentionally make nothing up. This is what I learned. And that's what I relate from my teachers. If I misunderstood, that's possible. I'm not above misunderstanding, but I don't think I'm that far off. So I could make mistakes. I could make slips. It's possible. So refuting me is not hard. That's not the issue. So if you want to refute me, that's easy. I can help you do that. You don't got to waste your time. I'm telling you, I make mistakes all the time. But I hope I'm not making big mistakes, right? So if you're worrying about refuting me, that's not going to bother me. I want you to refute Imam al-Nawawi, Imam al-Ghazali, Imam al-Haddad, Imam al-Haramain, right? Real scholars, not me. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not worth refuting. If you're worried about refuting me, you got a problem. Right? If your concern is refute Amin Muhammad, you're in trouble. That means you don't really even understand the religion. You're wasting your time refuting me. You should be refuting the books I'm reading and the scholars, right? That's what you should refute. Refuting me, I'm not going to pay attention to that. And you could just tell me my own errors. That's easy. I'll accept. I'm not above that I make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, right? So if that's your issue, you could just tell me that. You don't even got to waste your time getting a PDF and putting my name on it. You don't need to make me famous because I'm not the issue. I'm just transmitting to you what I learned. That's it. Now, and if it's wrong what I learned, then you're just the ones who said it, right? So refuting me don't matter. I'm nobody. Wasting your time. So, Farouk, I don't have no ego like that. I'm nobody. Refute me. Go ahead. If it's my mistake, I can accept that. If you're refuting Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the Asharis, the Maturidis, the scholars of Ahl Sunnah, then we'll deal with that. I'll respond to that. But me, that's not hard. That's real easy. Refute Amin Muhammad. You ain't did nothing. That's so easy. Right? That's easy. And know what, though? We should stop being so personal. It's not about us. We ain't that deep. Right? I want to tell you a story, right? I'm going to tell you a story. I had a friend, right? I had a friend, he was an NBA player, right? He played for the Dallas Mavericks. It's my buddy, right? We do business together. So one time, we was playing basketball. Well, we was like at a basketball court. So we said to him, come on, let's play some ball. He said, I don't play with bums. I don't want to get hurt. I was joking. He said, I don't play with bums. I don't want to get hurt. I said, what? Right? He said, I don't play with bums. I don't want to get hurt. Right? I was like, you bench warmer. Right? Right? But what was he really saying? I'm a professional basketball player. You guys y'all don't play basketball. It might be some hobby you doing. I can't be messing around with you. I'm never going to prove anything playing with you. Right? So, similarly, someone refuting me is like him playing basketball with me. He's a professional player. I'm not no professional players. I scored 30 on Amin. And why don't you score 30 in the NBA? Right? It's not significant, right? So I refuted Amin Muhammad. And what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? He's insignificant. That's not his field. He ain't no scholar. He's a common person trying to help other common people like him. That's it. No claims. I don't claim to be Sheikh al-Islam. And the one who refuted me ain't Sheikh al-Islam either. So I don't know why you're wasting your time. You're in the same boat as me. Right? But go for it if that's what makes him happy. What do you think, Farouk? Was that a good answer? Huh? Was it a good answer, Farouk? Did it satisfy your curiosity, my brother? You know, that's why I don't mention people's names, right? I could, but they're insignificant. I could attack an individual, but for what? Right? For what? Now, what you do is with the refutation, you examine it towards scholars, not to me. I'm a layman, right? I'm a common person. So if it's about me, that's easy, right? Now, okay, so what? They got I'm not an Arab, I'm an American. So they got a lot to say about my Arabic. And what? I'm not an Arab, I'm an American. I'm an American, I'm not an Arab. I'm not making no claims. What my Arabic has to do with the truth? Nothing. Zilch. Okay? I can have the poorest Arabic in the planet. Does Allah have a body? No. Does Allah sit on a throne? No. At the end of the day. So say it in English, say it in Arabic, say it in French. Allah is not like his creation. So now what? At the end of the day, okay. At the end of the day, you got perfect Arabic, but you believe Allah is a body sitting in heaven. Explain to me. Arabic, English, French, German, Chinese. Tell me how that makes Allah a body sitting in heaven and has limbs and organs and being in the place. That Imam Amin got Arabic mistakes. Okay, fine. Imam Amin got Arabic mistakes. Imam Amin should go practice his Arabic more. Okay, great. At the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like the creation. At the end of the day, that's the point. So that, all right, you got that. I accept. Imam Amin is horrible in Arabic. Great. Does Allah resemble his creation at the end? After all that, you said that. Now what? Right? Now what? Okay, you finish with, and because I've never met Arabs who, if I wanted to pick their Arabic apart, you can. Arabs. So you want to pick the Arabic apart? The one who write that, I'll pick his Arabic apart. So it don't matter. Arabs make mistake in Arabic all the time. So that ain't the point. That has nothing to do with the subject matter. We're talking about the creed. That's what we're talking about. When we get out of ourselves at the end of the issue, you still can't run from the issue. Allah is not like his creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, laysa kamithlihi shay. That's it. At the end of the day, you can't run from that. So you can use all that other stuff you want. I don't get distracted by that. I won't. Never. Do you know some people going to be in paradise who can't speak Arabic at all? Do you realize that? There are going to be people in paradise who cannot speak Arabic at all, who don't have bad Arabic. They don't have no Arabic, but they have the correct belief in Allah and his messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you hear what I said? There are people who can't speak any Arabic, who can't read an Arabic book, but they're going to be in paradise. And there are people who are fluent in Arabic, masters of Arabic language, and they're going to be in hellfire. You heard that? So stick that in your Arabic pipe and smoke it. Now I'm joking. All right, I'm out. Barakallahu fikum. May Allah make it easy for all of you. Barakallahu bikum. Assalamu alaikum. So just learn the correct creed. Don't worry about all that other stuff. See y'all tonight on the Black Imams Roundtable.